If you're thinking about buying or selling a home in 2026, there is one thing that I need you to know. There's a lot of bad real estate advice floating around. Some of it comes from social media. Some of it comes from like outdated rules that people have heard years and years ago. And some of it comes from online tools that like maybe look really official, but don't tell the whole story. And some of it comes from fear of rates, fear of overpaying, fear of selling too low, or feel like you're making the wrong move. So today we're doing a long form episode of Real Estate MythBusters 2026, and I'm breaking down 5 of the biggest real estate myths that could cost you money if you believe in them. We're going to talk about renting versus owning, waiting for lower interest rates, whether AI can replace a real estate agent, which renovations really add value, and whether your Zestimate is the same thing as your real home value. So let's bust some myths. If you're new here, I'm Neal, and I help buyers and sellers make smarter real estate decisions with less confusion and more confidence. My goal with this series is just simple. Take the things that people are hearing online and break them down in plain old English so that you can make decisions based on real information, not clickbait, fear, or outdated advice. Let's start with one of the biggest myths that I hear right now and that renters are hearing. Myth number 1, renting is always cheaper than owning. For many years, people have said, just rent, it's cheaper than owning. And honestly, on the surface, I can understand why this myth is actually so believable. Renting usually has fewer upfront costs. You don't have to pay for the major repairs. You don't have to worry about property taxes. You can move more easily, and your responsibility just feels simpler. But the problem is that people often compare rent to a mortgage payment and then they stop right there. That's not the full math. Whether you compare renting and owning, you have to look at the full picture. Rent, it's a payment for temporary housing. A mortgage payment, it's housing plus ownership. So that distinction, it really truly matters. When you rent, your monthly payment, it gives you a place to live for that month. That's it. Once the payment's made, the money is gone. When you own, part of your payment goes towards the building of the equity. Over time, you are paying down the loan, and ideally, the home is appreciating in value. So if the monthly payment to own is similar or slightly higher than rent, then the long-term outcome can be completely different. So let's say someone is paying $2,200 per month in rent. Over 5 years, that's $132,000 that you're paying to a landlord. At the end of those 5 years, that renter has no equity, no ownership, and no long-term assets from those payments. Now, let's compare that to someone who buys a home and makes payments for 5 years. Yes, there are costs involved. Yes, ownership comes with responsibilities, but that owner may have built equity, benefited from appreciation, and create a more stable housing payment over time. That's why renting can feel cheaper month to month, but it still costs more in the long term. Now, I want to be clear, renting is not always bad. There are definitely times when renting makes sense. So if you're planning to move within a year or two, renting may be smarter. If you're rebuilding credit, renting might be the right temporary step. Or if your income is unstable, renting can give you the flexibility. If you don't have any emergency reserves yet, it may be better to wait and prepare. The myth is not that renting is bad. The myth is that renting is always cheaper. Long term, especially if you plan to stay in the same area, ownership usually gives you something renting will never have: equity. So here's the takeaway. Renting gives you flexibility. Owning gives you stability and wealth building potential. The right choice, it depends on your timeline, your finances, and your goals. But don't just assume renting is automatically cheaper just because the monthly payment looks easier today. Myth busted. Let's go on to myth number 2. It's better to wait for the lower interest rates. The next myth is one I hear all the time. I'm just going to wait until rates come down. And again, I understand it. Interest rates, they affect affordability. They affect monthly payments. They affect how much home buyers feel comfortable purchasing. But waiting for the perfect rate, it can become a trap. The problem with waiting is that the interest rates are only one piece of the equation. Home prices actually matter. Competition matters. Rent matters. Inventory matters. Your personal timing matters. A lot of buyers, they focus only on the rate and forget that they're waiting. While they're waiting, home prices, they still may be moving. For example, if you're looking at a $400,000 home and prices rise just 3% over the next year, that same home could then cost you $412,000 later. That means you didn't just wait for a better rate, you may have waited yourself into a higher purchase price. And if lower rates bring more buyers into the market, you also may be facing more competition, more bidding pressure, fewer seller concessions, and less negotiating power. So yes, the rate might be lower, but the overall deal may not actually be looking better. So here's the strategy that many buyers forget. You can refinance a rate later if it improves. You cannot go back and buy a house at yesterday's prices. And that doesn't mean that everyone should buy immediately. It means that buyers should run the numbers instead of waiting blindly. If the payment works, the home fits your needs, you have the stable income, and you plan to stay long enough for ownership to make sense, then waiting for the perfect rate may not be the best move. Sometimes the better the opportunity is buying when other buyers are hesitant, because that hesitation can create room to negotiate. Higher rate environments, they can sometimes mean less competition, more seller flexibility, better inspection negotiations, possible closing assistance, more time to make decisions. So the question isn't, are rates perfect? The better question is, does this move make sense for my life and my budget right now? The takeaway here, it's simple. Don't chase the lowest rate, chase the overall right strategy. A sustainable payment, a good home, a fair price, and a long-term care plan that matters more than trying to perfectly time the market. Another myth busted. Myth number 3, AI, it can replace a real estate agent. Now, let's talk about AI, because AI has changed the way people research, plan, compare, and make decisions. Buyers can ask AI questions. Seller can use AI to write descriptions. People can research the neighborhoods, estimate payments, and learn real estate terms in seconds. So naturally, some people are asking, do I even need a real estate agent anymore? It's a fair question, but the answer is yeah, you still do. You still need professional guidance, especially when money, contracts, negotiation, and risk are all involved. Let's give AI credit where it deserves the credit. AI can be extremely helpful. It can help explain basic real estate terms. It can help you organize questions before a showing. It can compare general pros and cons. It can help sellers brainstorm staging ideas. It can help buyers understand the different loan types. It can make you feel more prepared before conversations with lenders or agents. I actually think that AI can make clients more informed, and that's a really good thing. But being informed is not the same thing as being represented. That's the key difference. AI cannot walk through a home, and it can't notice the red flags. It can't smell the moisture. It can't feel uneven flooring. It can't hear that road noise. It can't see how natural light changes the space. It can't judge whether a layout feels functional in person. It can't tell you when listing photos are actually hiding something. AI also, it can't negotiate on your behalf. It can suggest what to say, but it can't read the room. It can't understand agent's tone, manage emotions, or adjust strategy when a deal gets tense. And AI cannot protect you from contract mistakes. Real estate contracts have deadlines. They have contingencies, disclosures, addendums, financing terms, inspection windows, appraisal concerns, and earnest money risks. A missed deadline can poorly structure or a poorly structured offer can cost you thousands. This is not something you want to figure it out as you go. Real estate is not just information. It's strategy, timing, negotiation, local experience, and a human judgment. The smartest move in 2026 is not AI instead of an agent. It's AI plus a trusted agent. Use AI to prepare and use your agent to protect. Use AI to learn terms and use your agent to apply them correctly. Use AI to gather those questions and use your agent to build a strategy. That combination, it can be powerful. AI can give you information. A great agent helps you turn that information into a smart move. Myth busted. Myth number 4, all home renovations increase value. I know what you're thinking. But now let's talk to the homeowners and the future sellers. One of the most common beliefs I hear is that if I put money into my home, I'll get that money back when I sell it. It sounds logical. It does. New kitchen, new floors, new bathroom, custom upgrades, all of that should automatically increase the value, right? Not always. Not every renovation is an investment. Some renovations are lifestyle improvements. Some are maintenance. Some are cosmetic updates. Some help resale. And some are expensive projects that may not return what you actually spent. The biggest mistake homeowners make is renovating based only on personal taste instead of thinking about the buyer expectations, neighborhood standards, and resale strategy. For example, a very custom design may be perfect for you, but it may be too specific for the average buyer. A luxury renovation may look beautiful, but if it's overbuilt for the neighborhood, buyers may appreciate it without being willing to pay significantly more for it. And a major project right before selling can be really risky if it takes longer, costs more, or doesn't align with what buyers actually care about. The updates that really tend to help the resale are often simpler than people think. Fresh neutral paint, improved curb appeal, updated lighting, clean landscaping, minor kitchen updates, bathroom refreshes, visible repairs, power washing, new hardware, fresh caulk, and clean grout. These are not always the flashiest projects, but they make the home feel cleaner, better maintained, and easier for buyers to say yes to. Buyers, they want confidence. If they see peeling paint, broken fixtures, damaged flooring, or signs of neglect, they start to wonder what else has been ignored. Sometimes fixing the obvious issues does more for your sale than spending money on one dramatic upgrade. So before you renovate, ask, am I updating for my lifestyle or for resale? How long do I plan to stay? What do comparable homes offer? Will this appeal to most buyers or some buyers? And am I solving a problem or just changing a style? Could a smaller update create the same result? If you're staying for years, renovate for your life. But if you're selling soon, renovate for that buyer. That distinction, it really matters. Not all renovations increase your value. The key is knowing the difference before you spend your money on it. Myth busted again. Myth number 5, the Zestimate is the same as my real home value. Last myth for today. My Zestimate says that my home is worth the amount, so that must be what my real value is. I get it. I get why homeowners feel this way. Online estimates are quick, convenient, and easy to access. You type in an address and you instantly get a number. But that number, it's not the full story. A Zestimate is based on algorithm. It uses available data with public records, recent sales, square footage, bedroom count, bathroom count, and nearby market activity. That can be useful, actually, but the algorithms, they can't see everything. So a Zestimate, it doesn't walk through your home. It doesn't see your upgrades. It doesn't know if your roof is brand new or if your HVAC is struggling. It doesn't really fully understand your layout, the natural light, curb appeal, backyard, street noise, or buyer demand in specific price ranges. Two homes, they can have the same square footage, same bedroom count, and same neighborhood and still sell for very different prices. Why, you ask? Because buyers don't buy spreadsheets, they buy homes. And value, it's based on what a qualified buyer is willing to pay in today's market, considering the condition, competition, location, presentation, timing, and appraisal support. So, use the estimate as a starting point, but don't use it as your pricing plan. Let's just recap real quick. Renting, it's not always cheaper than owning. Waiting for lower interest rates can cost more than it saves. AI is helpful, but it doesn't replace professional representation. Not every renovation increases your value, and your Zestimate is just a starting point, not your true market value. The common thread with all of these myths is this: real estate decisions should not be based on fear, assumptions, or one online number. They really should be based on strategy. So, whether you're buying, selling, investing, or just trying to understand your options, the goal is not to make a perfect decision. The goal is to make an informed one. If one of these myths has been holding you back, this is your sign to get the real numbers, ask better questions, and make your next move with confidence. If you found this helpful, please subscribe for more Real Estate MythBusters and check out the full blog series linked in the description. I can't wait to see you guys next time.